So welcome to another of my podcasts. I'm going to talk about the possibility of coming here to the Philippines, when that will happen, or when they're saying it's going to happen, when I think it's going to happen, what stages of quarantine we are in the Philippines, what the difference is between ECQ, GCQ, and MGCQ, and when we're going to be on the least quarantine, which is MGCQ. So to start with, when I think people will be allowed back in to the Philippines, currently they're saying January 2021, which is what's that, about 8 months away, 6 months, 7 months away. So I think it will be before, and the reason I say that is that there's a lot of pressure on the Philippine government from the tourism industry to start letting people in. And the reason I say that is because there are a lot of, for example, there's a lot of coffee shops, restaurants, and they're all empty. And these are industries with small margins, typically small margins, and many of them are run by Filipinos, and there are Filipinos that work there, and they're all without job, no income. And the 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 economy here in the Philippines is not doing well. It's not doing well at all, and people have very little here to start off with. And when they have very little, and you just take a bit away, I mean, they're on the borderline of something bad happening to them. So I would say there's going to be a lot of pressure. And if I was going to guess at a month when I think tourism will start to open up, it'll be probably 2 3 months before Christmas. And it will start opening up to countries that, this is my belief anyway, it's going to start opening up to countries with low rates of I call it bug 19. Low rates of bug 19, and countries that have a lot of testing also. So that way the Filipino government can be pretty secure that the chances of getting a coronavirus, to get a bug 19 from one of those tourists, is very, very minute. The other thing I've started to realize in the last few weeks, there's really no way of controlling this bug 19. The spreadability is too high. The only way to control this is for everybody to stay home till there's a vaccine, basically, right? And when is there going to be a vaccine? They're saying 1 to 2 years, but it could be as much as 3 years. It could be as much as 4 years. And this bug 19 is more than probably going to mutate into something else, something that the vaccine won't be able to cover, just like the flu. Like when you take a flu shot, it's not just one vaccine. I mean, it is one vaccine that you inject into you, but there are multiple strains of flu that they are going against, that they work against. So it's not as simple as just finding one vaccine for bug 19, because I can guarantee you bug 19 will mutate and will go into bug 20, bug 21, whatever you want to call it. So I think sooner rather than later, governments are starting to realize this. I see what's going on in the US, I see what's going on in Europe with all these demonstrations. Yes, it's about a specific thing, it's about racism, and it's about, but I think underlying there are more issues. People are fed up of being at home. People are fed up of losing their business. People are fed up of losing their income, tapping their savings. Some people are our savings are tapped out. So people want to go out. People want to go places, and I think more and more governments are starting to realize this. And I think they're going to just have to live with the consequences of people going out. People will take precautions like wearing masks, like washing your hands, and all the precautions that we have learned in the last 3 months. But also countries that have restricted flights to their country, like the Philippines and Thailand, Vietnam, and all these other countries, they're going to start opening up. And they're going to have to open up because their economy is going really bad, and people are losing a lot of money, and some of the industries are on the brink of bankruptcy. And if hotels starts going bankrupt here in the Philippines, and all these restaurants start going bankrupt, and diving resort starts going bankrupt, what are you going to come to here? I mean, you're going to come to a city with no restaurants, nothing to do? No, you just go somewhere else, right? As a American or a European or Australian, you have multiple destinations you can go to. You can spend your money somewhere else. The government knows this, so they have to do something, and I think they're starting to come to that conclusion. And so I think the Philippines will be opening up sooner rather than later. I hope I'm right anyway, because we need the industry. When I say we, I'm not Filipino, but the Philippines needs the industry, and the Filipino people need the income. So I'm hoping that part will be in the next 3 to 6 months, and I think you'll start seeing moves in the next 1 to 2 months after the MGCQ is implemented, and that's something else I'm going to cover here. The MGCQ, which is the lightest part of the quarantine, and it means that the restaurants are going to open up, the tourist destinations are going to open up, the coffee shops are going to open up. So basically, we're going to go back to the way it was before all this started, with certain restrictions. Social distancing. So, for example, restaurants are only allowed to have 50% seating compared to what they had before. Are they going to do that? They start doing that, and then they're going to start getting more and more people in, just because restaurants have small margins, and that's just the way it's going to be. I mean, I see here already people, I wouldn't say they're kind of breaking the law, because they're not supposed to be open, and they say it's takeout only, but people are sitting there having coffee, eating anyway, and they say nothing because they have to have that income. They're on the verge of bankruptcy. So they have to have that income, and they're just going to, you know, basically go on the borderline of that law, and go a bit over and push it and push it and push it. And that's just the way it's going to happen here. To it pretty quick here. Enhanced community quarantine is what we were on. We are now in general community quarantine. So this is where we were before, and basically it was, I'm not going to go through this with too much detail, but it was really strict. We're only allowed to go out 2 days a week, a few hours a day, to get the most essential done. Now we're in what we call general community quarantine. Here is defined as modified community quarantine. And basically, most of the checkpoints have gone. There are much less checkpoints, and the places that are checking is just random checking. Public transportation is kind of restarted but limited. Stores are open, the malls are open, but they're much more strict about who they let in. Only certain people are allowed in on certain days. Travel is restricted from one island to another, even if they're in the same type of quarantine. And of course, social distancing. Now, on June the 16th, here in Negros, we'll be going to what they call a modified GCQ, which I think that will be defined as the new normal. And basically, this has already started here. The spot checks, that's what's going on. Public transportation has started up. We're not at 100%, but they're slowly getting more and more public transportations. As far as I know, all the stores are allowed to be open. I've seen tons of stores open. Schools will not be opening, according to Duterte, till they have a vaccination for this. And here in the Philippines, this is constantly changing, so you never know. They say one thing 1 week, and 2 weeks later it's changed up again. So currently, looks like Negros Oriental is going to be on the modified GCQ by June 16th. Again, that might change 2 days before June. Might change on June 14th, or might even change on June 15th. But for now, we're crossing our fingers. We got 6 days to go, and we'll see how that works out. Travel allowed with restrictions. What does that mean? It means that you're allowed to travel if one island is on MGCQ and the other island is on MGCQ. For example, if Bohol is on MGCQ and Negros Oriental is on MGCQ, I will be allowed to travel to Bohol, even for what they call leisure over here. It's just to go see some friends, and some of the hopefully some of the resorts will be opening up again, so we can start enjoying travel. So this is what we're hoping for anyway. They say high risk 60 plus pregnant stay home. Yes, but they're not really implementing that. I know a lot of people here that are over 60 and they do whatever they want. They've never been stopped, never been talked to. Sometimes if they try to go to the mall, uh, the security might say something, but they just explain that they're the only ones, or they live by themselves and they need to do essential shopping, they call it. So they're let in. So basically, this rule here is not really implemented. Um, as I said, things are going to get more and more slack, and I'm just hoping that if the bug 19 does have a resurgence, that they don't go back to ECQ, because that would just really, really kill the economy. That's basically telling people that things are going to stay like this for the next 2 years, 3 years, and then I can really see people just saying enough is enough and leaving the country, and that would be a great financial burden on the Philippines. So I hope that doesn't happen. Here's a web page, and this is from the Filipino government, and here it says, initially focusing on domestic tourism, the DOT places primary importance on the safety and health of tourists and tourist workers. Thus, all AEs that are accredited and authorized by DOT will be required to comply with the DOT health and safety guidelines for accommodations establishments under the new normal, based on protocols issued by the WHO as well as the DOH, Philippine Department of Health. So here already they're starting to get guidelines in place for domestic travel. After domestic travel and things start reopening, they'll start opening for international travel. And as I said previously, I think that will happen a lot sooner than what they are currently telling us, just due to the financial situation here in the Philippines. And I think everybody can see that it's in their own self-interest to start opening up things. So that's that for now. So to cover again, most places are going to MGCQ, which is the lightest form, or lightest restrictions of the quarantine. People will be allowed to travel again by June 16th, I believe. And also I believe that international travel will happen sooner rather than later. Currently they're saying January 2021, but I believe it will happen a few months before. Would I book my ticket on that? No, but I will keep you posted on if anything changes, if there's any new news. So remember, please subscribe and like and share if possible. And if you need any help on anything here in the Philippines, hit me up and I will. We can do a one-to-one conference call. Thanks. Bye bye.